Hey everyone, it's Smitha. Today I'm super excited because we're going to be talking all about the Rituel de Fille archive event. This is a really cool event where Rituel de Fille brings back a bunch of their shades that were either limited edition before and they were just trialing out, or they're bringing back shades that they are now going to be making permanent. I have a bunch of these shades, so I'm going to go ahead and show some swatches of them. And the shades that I don't have, I'm going to show you what they are up on the screen. The other thing I'm going to do is link all of my Rituel de Fille videos in the description box because I've created several here on YouTube so that can be a reference for you. And I'm going to create a look at the end. As I'm doing my swatches, I'm also going to be doing some try-ons of the different shades. And before we dive in, I'm going to go ahead and pop my discount affiliate code up on the screen now. That will save you 10%. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, starting off with my favorite bring back, we have Midnight Glow, and this is in the Thornbite Peptide Lip Oil formula. This came out this past winter. I would describe it as having a plum brown base, and it has blue sparkles throughout, so it has that beautiful blue-brown duochrome effect. And for my fellow Rituel de Fille nerds, especially those that enjoy the eyeglosses, this one pairs super nicely with the shade Cygnus. Cygnus is a part of the permanent lineup, so I decided to swatch them side by side and also show you the little try-on that I did with both shades. The eyeglosses are very polarizing. They're definitely not for everyone, but I really enjoy them. You can apply them super sheerly if you don't want them to crease as much, but they're certainly not for everyone. The next three shades I'm going to show you were part of a fundraising event during Pride Month last year. I know a lot of people really love these shades, so I'm happy they're bringing them back. This is the shade Night Glow. It's described as an otherworldly green in sheer black. Next shade we have is Night Flower. This is described as a blood red shimmer in a sheer black. As I'm swatching these, you can probably tell they have a little bit extra kind of grunginess to them, nuance. It's definitely part of what I really love about the products from Rituel de Fille. Last but not least, we have the shade Night Bloom. I think this may be my favorite shade of the three. This is described as a deep space aubergine in sheer black. In terms of how these feel on the lips, I really do think that they're very comfortable. I don't find that they have a sting or a bite to them. If they do, it's very mild, but I can't detect it. They don't feel sticky on the lips. They aren't transfer proof, but they do have a decent wear time on them. One of the other bring back eye gloss shades is called Krux. I am super excited about this one. This is my second favorite behind the shade Cygnus. I really love using it just for an easy one and done smoky eye. It's described as a shattered mirror silver. In this shade, I will be incorporating into the tutorial that I share at the end of this video. I've had so many people tell me they either love these or hate these. If you've tried them, I'm definitely curious to know what you think. Okay, next I have a couple of color nectar pigment balms to show. The first is Weeping Lilac, and this is actually a new to me shade. This is a cream pigment and it's described as a grungy mauve lilac. These do have a buildable pigmentation, so for a shade like this, I would definitely layer it up. But if you have a lighter skin tone, it will probably work well for you as well. I will show you what it looks like built up a little bit. I do get questions about how these wear. First of all, they do kind of set down to have like a natural finish. If you want a super long wear with these, I would recommend powdering. I've done that and I've had a good experience. The next bring back shade we have is called Snowdrop. This is another color nectar pigment balm and it's described as a cold cherry blossom pink. This shade came out about a year and a half ago as a part of the 2024 Black Friday event. Alright, well, y'all already know my love when it comes to the Rare Light Cream Luminizer formula. What I love about this formula is that you get a pure glow without sparkle, perfect for day to day. This is the shade Apparition and it's described as an electric fuchsia flash. As I mentioned before, I'm gonna have linked in the description all of my Rituel de Fille videos. I've tried on many of the other shades because it truly is my favorite highlight formula from the brand and in general. And I am going to show you what Sylvan Shine looks like swatched and applied as well. It's also a rare light cream luminizer and it's described as an iridescent violet opal. Rituel de Fille is also bringing back some of their black orb eyeliners, and these are basically potted eyeliners. They're actually multi-use. I really like using them all over the lid as a matte eyeshadow and as bases for shimmer shadows in general. This is the shade Twilight. It's described as a mauve of mysterious shadows. The next shade we have is called Blood, and this is simply described as the sanguine scarlet of a fresh bite. So basically a blood red. I definitely think this type of product isn't for everyone, but in my opinion, it's underrated. If you like cream shadows and kohl liners, then I think you may like this formula. What's nice about it too is that it completely sets down. Okay, and the last product I have to swatch is one of the Enchanted lip sheers. This is the shade Hemlock. It came out over the winter and it's described simply as a shadowy obsidian purple. This one is super pigmented. It's really moody. This one is so pigmented that it really doesn't apply sheerly, but it is such a beautiful, moody purple tone shade. All right, and in addition to the shades that I swatched, we have some other shades that are coming back as well. Starting with one of the color Nectar pigment balms, we have the shade Snapdragon, and this is described as a juicy orange. I feel like a good orange blush is hard to come by. They're definitely not for everyone, but I have really been into orange blushes lately, especially in the summer. I find myself gravitating toward more warmer tones. What I like about this formula too is that it's quite buildable, so even if you do have a lighter skin tone, you could use a light hand and it won't be too overwhelming. Okay, and in addition to the black orbs that I've shown, we also have two other shades. One that's called Night, and this is described as the inky aubergine of blood at midnight. Then we also have the shade Soil, and this is described as the rich brown of wet earth. And another color Nectar pigment balm that I am incredibly excited about, I'm going to pick this up during the event, is Hornet. I've been really into brown blushes and I actually created a video all about brown blushes. This is actually a cool toned 90s brown, so this is called Hornet. I feel like a lot of times it's hard to get a cool toned brown blush, and so I feel like the tones of this one are particularly unique. All right, and one of the things I'm super excited about are the Forbidden lipsticks that are coming back. The first one we have is called Prey. I feel like this shade may be a little bit light for me, but if you do have a lighter skin tone and you like the shade Lilium, you may really like this one. Lilium is an Enchanted lip sheer. So they are a different formula, but Prey is described as a muted fleshy mauve. Then we have the shade Strange Creature. This is described as a neutral cool gray. The two shades that I am most excited about are the shimmery Forbidden lipsticks. The first is called Chrysalis. This is described as a smoky green with muted shimmer. What I like about these is that these also don't look like they're overly shimmery. Then we have the shade Shadow Self, and this is described as a metallic blue-black with a purple undertone. Darkest Deed is described as a rich inky purple. And in comparison to the shade Hemlock, this does look similar, maybe just a little bit deeper than Hemlock. All right, then we do have a couple more things. We have an eye gloss. These are definitely polarizing. They're not for everyone. I really like them, but I've had people tell me when I wear them, they either really like them or really don't like them. But we have the shade Pelium. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And this is described as an inky black gelée with rich green shimmer. Last but not least, we have a few highlighters that are coming back. These are their highlighters that are metamorphic. So the metamorphic cream highlights are iridescent, similar to the Rare Light Cream Luminizers, but these ones have some shimmer in them. So we have the shade High Priestess. This is described as an iridescent lilac. Then we have the shade the Enchantress, which, you know, I'm very drawn to because it's blue. This is an iridescent aqua. And then last but not least, we have the shade the Horizon. This looks lovely. This is more of a nude toned. This is described as a dewy, wet look angelic petal glow. All right, so that's actually a lot of things that are coming back. I feel like this is why some of the restocks and these launches are so spread out, because they are a small lab, and it does take time to restock all of these items. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and dive into a look. I do have my base done, but I don't have any other makeup on other than my base and my brows. So I'm going to start off with one of the black orbs. I'm super excited about this shade Twilight. And I think I want to just put this all over my lid. I do want to mix in some shimmer as well, but this is just a gorgeous shade, and I knew I had to play with it. So I'm going to take a fluffy brush and blend that out. These can also be used for a precise wing liner. But a lot of times I like just putting these all over the lid because they set down, they have a nice wear time. Here's what it looks like all blended out. I think that this makes for a beautiful one and done shadow. I do want to just put the smallest bit of the Krux eye gloss. Again, this is what it looks like swatched on the back of my hand. I'm going to use just a very thin layer just for a little bit of shimmer right in the center. You can definitely wear these as one and done eye looks as well, but I just want a little bit of that charcoal shimmer. And when you spread it out like that, it definitely doesn't stay feeling wet on the lid in any kind of way. Here is what both of my lids look like after using the black orb, and that was the shade Midnight, and the eye gloss in the shade Krux. Now I'm going to go in with just a little bit of this Rare Light Cream Luminizer, and this is the shade Apparition. It's described as a fuchsia. Here's what it looks like swatched on my fingertip. Here is what it looks like swatched on the back of my hand. I'm just going to take a little bit and put it on the brow bone. I'm going to use this on my cheeks as well, but I also love using these on or around the eyes, and I added that to the inner corner. In my waterline, I used just a little bit of Urban Decay Mushroom. It's this really pretty kind of gray, it has a little bit of shimmer in it as well. Here's what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand, and a little bit of mascara. Here is the finished eye look. Okay, on my cheeks, I want to use a little bit of Weeping Lilac. This is a new shade to me. Really excited about it because this looks like a gorgeous kind of muted tone, kind of nude, and also goes with the tone of the eyeshadow. I think this would work really well on lighter skin tones as well. On me, I do have to build it up a little bit, but with building, this is a beautiful nude tone blush. This shade would not work on a deep skin tone, I don't think. But on my skin tone, I think with building up, it is just giving me a very natural flush. Now I'm going to go in just with a little bit of Apparition, putting that on the top of the cheekbones for some extra glow. A little bit down the bridge of the nose. I line my lips with a little bit of Carve from KJH brand. This is the Precision Sculpture Stilo. And then I'm going to finish off my lips with, this is one of my favorite lip shades that Rituel de Fille has. So happy that they're bringing it back. This is called Midnight Glow. And this is kind of like blue-brown duochrome effect on the lips. And I think the tones of the shade go really well with the eye look as well. Here is the completed look. I wanted to do something that was simple yet impactful, incorporated a bunch of the shades that are coming back during this archive event. All right, now that we've had a chance to go through everything, I would love to hear in the comments what products you're most excited about. Do you think that you're going to be trying anything from the brand for the first time, or picking up an old favorite, or just admiring from afar? If you have any questions about the products or the formulas, definitely let me know in the comments. I always get excited for anything that Rituel de Fille is doing. I love the nuanced shades. I find the formulas to be so interesting and unique. And I know the team has been working so hard on this event. As always, I hope you found my video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.